Hi, it's Gretchen Dixon, a product specialist at SOLABS. In today's video, I'd like to give you a short overview of one of our newest off-the-shelf process apps, the Pharmaceutical Product Complaint Process. Here we have a pharmaceutical product complaint process that has been initiated, and like all of our other process apps, you have a process details section that will give you high-level information about the status of the process. In this case, the date it was initiated, who it is currently with, and what step it's at. This one is at step 1, and I'll be showing you all the data that can be entered at step 1. First, I'd like to show you the flow chart for this process. Again, like our process apps, like all of our other process apps, we have a reference flow chart. Here we see the flow chart for the pharmaceutical product complaint process. It starts with complaint intake at step 1, where all the information about the complaint that just came into your organization will be entered, and you'll see that shortly. You then have step 2, where the complaint will be assessed. There is a process role to give to people who would be responsible for assessing complaints that come into your organization, and anyone that has that process role can be chosen by the person at step 1 to be the appropriate person to do that assessment. The complaint assessment will decide whether or not an investigation is required. If an investigation is required, the process will move to step 3, and the lead investigator can be determined from a list of people who have another process role, PRINV for process investigator. When it gets to that person at step 3, they will be responsible for managing the investigation and any secondary tasks that they may give to people in order to move that investigation along. They also have the ability during that investigation to cancel it if need be, to request an extension of any due dates on the investigation, and to change the classification of the investigation should that become necessary during the investigation process. Like our kappa and deviation process, there's also a root cause analysis tool built into this investigation step, where you can choose high-level root cause sources, and then you can have secondary root cause analysis sources that are unique to your organization. So that will stay at the investigation and root cause analysis step while all the tasks need to be done. Ultimately, the investigation, if there is one, will be complete, and it will go to investigation and review approval with someone that has the process role QO management for quality operations management. If it was determined to be a critical one, it will then need a second level of quality operations management, and that is another process role for head of quality assurance management. After any post-approval tasks that need to be done, the process will be closed. So let's take a look at what you can enter into the product complaint process. Here we are back at the pharmaceutical product complaint process that was started. And now I'm going to act on step 1, complaint intake, and you'll see the types of information that can be entered. I will click on Act On for the complaint intake task. It will assign the next available number to this complaint. The first field that I have is contact type. This is a configurable custom list that you can fill out for your organization for the types of people or outside parties that may handle complaints at your company. Next, you can enter the date that the complaint came in using a handy calendar. The complaint reporter field allows you to choose whether the complaint was from a pharmacy, a patient, or other. Picking pharmacy brings up a list of fields that you can fill out about the pharmacy. And this information will be populated by values that you put in over time so that you can just pick them for each of these lists, such as countries, states, making it easy for you to quickly fill in the information. The same thing will happen if you pick patient. You'll have information to fill in about the patient. Next, we have a complaint description field. This is a free text field. It will give you plenty of room to describe the complaint that came in, but you can also choose to create a custom list of quick text so that you can standardize terminology regarding your complaints. Next, we have reported adverse event for pharmacovigilance. This is just a yes/no choice as to whether this needs to be a reported adverse event. An optional field is external case ID if that would help you at all. Product type is the next field, commercial or clinical. If I pick commercial, I have fields to fill in about my product name, strength, description, lot number, vendor, and if I pick clinical, you'll notice they change slightly. Study number, site number, subject number, whether it contributed to an adverse event. Complaint category will be filled in during the assessment step. Was a refund requested, yes or no? Is an acknowledgement letter required, yes or no? And finally, a classification, and this can be changed along the way, but initially it will be chosen at step 1, or even an option for to be determined. Like all of our process apps, you can assign as many secondary tasks as you may need to anyone in the organization to help you process this complaint. You may want people to perhaps look at retained samples or check on the status of any incoming samples from the complainant. When you submit, this will then go to whoever you chose for the assessment step. To find out more information on our product complaint process, go to our knowledge base in the product section and you'll see the user guide for Pharmaceutical Product Complaint Process P0056.